Oh, hey. I don't have too much time to talk right now. I'm actually pretty nervous. I have a big episode today. I'm meeting with the president. So, let me just, take on my shirt. I'm not, so you guys know, I'm not that good at being dressed up, so...
Okay, wait. This might take a while.
Whatever. So, I'm going to talk to him about some important things, some things that you guys might like. Did you know that he studied marine biology? At least that's what Wikipedia says, but, you know, I always trust the internet. Okay. Let me just...
It's Sunday, May 3rd, and it's time for This Week at SFT. This week's guest, UNT President Neil Smotrisk. And here's your host, Greg Scamato.
Now that I'm a little more stable and secure, let's talk about some events happening in the hall and around campus in this week's Rapid Fire.
Dive-In Movies presents The Goonies, Tuesday, May 5th at 8 p.m. at the Pole Rec Center pool. Don't forget, Friday is reading day, meaning there's no classes.
The interview you're about to watch will change the history of this week at SFT forever. It's the most important interview I've had all semester, and that's not to say anything bad about the other people I've interviewed. I've interviewed some great and important people around campus, but this one takes the cake. The boss man, the big cheese, whatever you want to call him. Here's my interview this week with President Dr. Neil Smotrisk. So I got lost on campus, and I stumbled into this very nice room with this very nice man. I'll let him introduce himself. Who are you and what do you do?
Well, welcome to the show office, Greg. I'm Neil Smotrisk, and I'm the president of the University of North Texas.
Awesome. A lot of people may not know this about you. I do, because I went on Wikipedia, the most trusty source in all of academia, and I found out that you studied marine biology. Is that correct?
Yes, I did.
Okay, so why are you here right now, and what made you get into higher education administration?
Well, first of all, I came here because the oceanfront property is awesome.
Absolutely.
And, I really enjoy it. I can go out and scuba dive, surf, just like I did in Hawaii. On Lake Louisville? No, I'm kidding. The kind of biology I did wasn't really just in ocean bearing. It was cardiorespiratory physiology. You can do it just about anywhere.
Okay.
And but I'm not here because of science. I quit being a scientist kind of a long time ago.
Sure.
So now I have to live vicariously through others.
Gotcha.
I love still hearing about science and engineering. I keep up. But my role has switched into supporting people who do that so that we can build a great university. What brought me here was simple. I got a call from a headhunter, and this is a pretty funny story. This was the third time they asked me to apply for the presidency here. The first time was back when I was at University of Hawaii. The second time it was early on in Las Vegas, and then this time was about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so when they called me, I said, why should I even talk to you?
Well, why'd you turn it down the first two times in the first place?
I did.
Other than you liking Hawaii and Las Vegas. Las Vegas, Denton.
Hawaii, Las Vegas, Denton, you're right. But I didn't turn it down. The first time I was the last man standing.
Oh, okay.
The regents loved me, and everybody thought I ought to take the job.
It's a tough crowd,
except
too.
for the chancellor.
Yeah. Oh.
And so it was a kind of a funny story. He was looking for someone else, and he got someone else, and that didn't last very long.
Yeah.
And then the next individual that came along was Lane Rollins.
Yeah.
He was kind of an interim, like a substitute teacher for the university, and did a great job kind of calming the world down and, helping to get things
Yeah.
stable. This time they called and I went, no, I'm not interested, and I hung up. And they called back and they went, really? I said, well, if you're really interested, then have the chancellor call me and tell me himself.
Okay.
Which he did.
Yeah.
So at that point, we just had a grandchild here. This has always felt like home. We spent 23 years in Arlington. So this region, whenever we flew back in, was where we felt our hearts were.
Cool.
And with the family here, and my daughter was living down in Corpus with her fiance, so he's an Annapolis guy. Was flying
Sure.
Was part of the elite flight squadron and training program there. So I felt like, wow, Texas, perfect. I can put a great job, a great university, and my family life all together in one place. And that's why I'm here.
Cool. And so you've talked about a lot of the things you do. Obviously, as president, you like to support everything going on here as a research institution. And you say you have a family, and this is really important to be back home, kind of. So what do you do when you're not in this very nice office and filling your role as president? What do you do in your free time?
Well, there isn't a lot of that.
Okay.
Right? Because you're on call 24/7. The first thing I do when I go home, if I have a moment, is answer all my emails. There can be 200-300 a day. And of course, you bring a lot of it with you. Things you have to work on, think about, phone calls you have to make, events you have to go to in the evening. So the university is both a job, but it's also part of my life. It's integrated into my life. It's not like it's 8 to 5 and then you go home and you forget all about it. So what I love to do, though, is I love to cook. My wife and I do enjoy travel, and who doesn't?
Sure.
I'm a project guy. In Hawaii, I renovated my house, which was really fun. A lot harder than I thought, but I had a construction background as a youngster. I have a variety of hobbies. I like gardening. I like, landscaping. So I always have a project that I'm working on. It's usually something productive.
Yeah.
Most recently, I learned how to carve granite from one of our alumni.
Really?
Yeah, a guy named Jesus Morales. And
Okay, I've seen a picture of that guy in his bio. And
he's
I eat
amazing.
at Kerr, so I see
He
it.
won a National Medal of
Yeah.
Art. His work is all over, like in the Smithsonian and stuff, so he's really famous, internationally famous.
That's awesome.
By the way, if you want to interview someone who has amazing stories, interview Jesus, because he was like in China before China became kind of American friendly.
Okay.
Working in arts programs with crazy people.
I mean, this is my last episode.
Oh, well, you're gonna have to get him another.
I'll just
in
get
gig.
another degree. I'll just change my major
get
again.
another degree. He invited me up and a donor that we have named Rosie Westheimer, another alum, up to Ardmore. They have a workshop up there. And he goes, well, look, if I'm going to build something for the campus, he's going to put this really amazing sculpture and water garden in at the end of the student union. It's going
Really?
to all get donated by Jesus and Jerry Westheimer. So it's going to kind of put us on the map with monumental sculpture.
That's really cool.
It's awesome. But he goes, if I'm going to do that, I need you to kind of see how I work.
So he got you to make it. It's
He
going
got
to be
me-
your sculpture.
No. I wish, because he makes a lot of money on those things. I went up to Ardmore, and he goes, well, here's the kind of things I do. And he got out all this serious equipment, giant saws that cut stone, chisels, hammers, blow torches, jackhammers, big drills,
Duct tape.
Yeah, actually, duct tape was involved. So he
I'm a
hoisted
sculptor.
about a 500-pound chunk of granite up onto a
Whoa.
table, and he said, there you go. And I had an idea what I wanted to build, and I spent 2 days battering the heck out of my hands, with the hammer
Really?
and
Yeah,
chisel.
yeah, yeah.
It's got all swollen up and cuts all over,
What'd you-
sawing the granite and
Yeah, what'd you make?
having fun. I made a Japanese little cistern, like a little bowl fountain called a tsukubai.
Okay.
And it's a traditional thing when you walk into a Japanese household or temple, they'll have like a little bamboo spring dripping water into this, and you take a little ladle and you purify your hands and you wash up, and then you're good to go.
Did they let you keep it? Is it yours now?
Yeah, it's mine.
Hey.
I polished it up, and it's going to get put in my new house. I'm really excited about it. I'm a big fan of kind of Japanese style.
Okay.
So I had a Japanese garden in one of my houses, and of course in Hawaii, everything was Japanese. So yeah, I'm
Cool.
gonna have a little Japanese garden, and I'll put my tsukubai up, and I'll have a little, meditation garden out there. It'll be cool.
And what do you think your summer project for this summer is then?
Well, getting my daughter married.
Okay.
Okay, she's going back to Hawaii. Her fiance has a special mission, and if I told you, I'd have to kill you.
And all of you.
Yeah, it's secret, and he'll be going back there, and so they'll get there for a week, and then she and he get married. They go off on their honeymoon, and so they'll be living there as his next posting. I guess he's gonna, when he gets there, he's gonna hopefully be promoted to a lieutenant commander. I don't know what that is, but it sounds really impressive to me. And so once we get that done, I guess we'll move into a house. We'll probably have a whole bunch of projects, right? Landscaping and everything
absolutely.
else. So the good news is by the time the school year starts, we should be settled in. And one of the first things I'm going to do is have students like National Merit students and the Eagle Ambassadors and NT40 and the Green Jackets over.
And housing, am I right?
Yeah, housing.
We got a couple. We got a few
all our
people.
alum, 170,000 of them, and have a little get together. So welcome students and faculty.
Very cool.
Kind of enjoy the place.
So now that I know that you exist and you're a human being, and you have a family and you do all these things.
There's some people who don't believe any of that.
But what am I saying? Okay, so now that I'm aware of all this, I'm also aware that you're very involved in the cyber universe, in technology, and you have a Twitter that you like. I think it's you personally responding to people, and I think that's a really cool thing. But if I had, because you get a lot of weird things, especially during the snow weeks and everything else, like people just ask you questions and you answer them. Sometimes to the best of your ability. What's like the weirdest question or the weirdest like message you've gotten on Twitter so far in your time here?
Yeah, I get a lot of weird messages. Most of them have come through an email or bizarrely handwritten notes.
Okay. So it's not on Twitter then.
And you get some interesting requests on Twitter. Gee, it looks cold. Can you declare a day off? Or it's good. So you get a little bit of silliness.
Yeah.
You get some every once in a while. Someone's got something they need to let me know. Like I have mold on my sandwich in the Kerr dining hall, and so
And they don't know their outlet, so they go right to you.
They go straight to me because I solve mold on sandwich problems. Just yesterday it was, look, see, I can't see the parking lines. I got a ticket for parking across the line. Can you see them? No, I'll bet you can't. So.
Do you point them in the right direction, or?
Yeah, actually, what I usually do when there's a real problem, as opposed to a perceived problem or a complaint that has no merit, is I email the tweet to say that our CFO or the head of the physical plant or the student affairs or the
and
housing.
then it trickles down to the right people.
And I just say, hey, could you look into this?
Yeah.
So, you get it for something happened with my admissions or things like that. But you do get a number of pretty wacky requests when you're in this kind of a position. There's people who assume that by virtue of being president, I must be able to do things for them that make no sense in the real world. I mean, I had one guy who wanted to talk to me about an invention that, goes into alternate universes and freezes time and saves energy.
Sounds
and,
like a great idea.
Walks the dog. It's
That was me actually, so.
darn it. I should have paid
That's
attention to
kind of
it.
embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, you get some truly wacky
Yeah.
stuff happening, but for the most part, Twitter's just a good way to kind of see what's going on with the campus. Although it can devolve quickly on a snow day into a series of complaints, or it can also be like nowadays the new trend seems to be asking me to make donations on Twitter.
Really?
Yeah. Excuse me. So every time someone's doing a fundraiser, it's like, hey, UNT Preds, come on out, come to our fundraiser, make a contribution, and that's okay when it's student organizations, but you wonder, where's the good place to be in social media, and where does social media devolve into an inadequate form of communication because you can't have a true discourse.
Yeah.
It doesn't lead to a dialogue. It doesn't lead to real understanding. And often Twitter is a vehicle for someone who just wants to make a point, often a hostile point, to amplify their voice through the medium. And that maybe isn't the best way to use it, but it's still all a kind of information.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it, but I am the top-rated presidential tweeter in,
Hey.
I'm pretty sure, the whole universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Are you going to try and keep it up?
Yeah, but I can do it with one hand tied behind my back now.
Cool.
All I have to do is declare another snow day. If I did it right now, it'd be really popular, right?
Just
Probably
start a
get
hashtag UNT Snow Day in April.
I could get another 1,000 followers like that.
That's great.
Yeah.
So other than telling people about, like say if someone tweeted you and telling them about who to actually get in contact with, what advice would you give the people watching right now who are mostly people ending their first year of college as they either go to a different school, continue on at UNT, or maybe even like find something outside of college? What advice would you give all of those people?
Well, there are different groups of people. But the best thing I can say is find something you love and then really give it everything you got. What I love about the University of North Texas is I hear from students all the time, you kind of give us the space to find ourselves, like you.
Sure.
You
I had a little bit of space.
Yeah, you do this, you do that, and finally you kind of go, I found it.
Yeah.
Well, when you found it, that's great. And so engage the thing that ignites your passions and then look into it from a career perspective, because once you do that, your level of motivation, your performance in class, everything else connects and it becomes real. Prior to that, it just feels like you're jumping through some hoops. It's out of context,
Yeah.
it's disconnected. So find what you like and then really commit to it, because this is your chance. And it's hard for you to believe, maybe because maybe you work some and you do this, you have all these activities.
Yeah.
But you have more discretionary time at this point of your life than you will ever have in the future.
That's what I keep being told, but then I'm like, I have no time to do any of this stuff.
Yeah, you do. And you're doing it all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You're living the dream right now. And
Yeah,
you
this is
don't
the dream.
maybe kind of really know it.
Yeah.
So I would say in grad school it's even more so, because by then you've discovered just what you want to do and it becomes your whole world, and it's like you just give yourself to it completely. So that's kind of how it was for me when I was a grad student.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I realized that's what I wanted to do, and it made me happy. That I didn't care at the time if there was no jobs in the field.
Sure.
That I was just going to do this and I'd figure it out. And it worked out. So that ability to commit and really want to make a difference, I think, is the advice that's universal advice. It doesn't matter if you're going to another school, leaving the university and graduating, or staying here. Just find out what you want to do and commit to it. And at that point, everything will turn around for you.
Cool. Well, thank you for being here today. It was really an honor to think about how far this show has come. I hope you guys got something out of it, and I'll be right back. Well, everyone, I'm glad you joined me. I hope you got a lot out of this episode. Join me next week for the final episode of This Week at SFT. I'll see you this week.